Yo, what up YouTube? It's your boy Za. But anyways, man, this video is gonna be something a lot different. Our battery is almost out, so I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible. And when I talk about this, it's like, you know, I've never been one to really go on conspiracy theories, because a lot of the conspiracies, well, people can consider a conspiracy has some semblance of truth to it, some a lot more truth than people fail to realize. But this one in particular, it's like I see a lot of people, they make these videos on you know, the Antichrist and you know, certain deities, and you know, just certain you know, powers influencing the way people think, the way people act, and how you know, basically how the future is going to turn out according to this. But I think where a lot of people mess up, sorry, is the fact that they're looking for some physical being to pop up or to manifest itself so you can visually see it, in order to be say the influence is justifiable. Like, okay, well, I seen the devil, or I seen the ghost, or I seen this. But what a lot of people are failing to realize, and this may just be my opinion, that I think the devil's in the detail. I think the one that we want to pop up with red face and big horns is nothing other than, and this is not to downplay it, I'm not saying that there's no devil and there's no, you know what I mean, there, even if you didn't believe in Christianity, Catholicism, or anything, you would have to know for a fact that there are actually beings out there that have been around for a long time. And some people like to say that, you know, like I even thought, like, you know what, God has took on many forms according to, you know, man's belief, and not only their beliefs but how they see things, you know what I mean, to fit the time. But then there's another perspective, you know what I mean, these beings have been around for a long time, and since people actually worship, because it's like they say, like, if you think about something bad long enough, shit starts to happen, or you know, you get that fear, like you're so in fear of dying or something of a certain nature happening to you, it tends to happen to you. Or if you speak things into the you know, into the ether, you can manifest these things. And it's the power of not only suggestion, but the power of your, you know, just, it's a lot of things about this world that people don't know. And the reason I made this video is because I see a lot of people dying on social media, and like with this whole YouTube and Google and all these like certain little entities that people believe might be actually helping this shit along, because they're, you know, influenced by certain forces or may reinforce, I don't know, like with the whole Disney thing. I mean, if you've really paid attention to Disney since a long time ago, they have always had some type of symbolism in their, not only in their movies but in a lot of shit. They actually get people to, you know, even if you're not physically praying to them, it's just like the whole, like, you know, when we go to movies and we see like something about a certain God, and we get so enthralled by it, like we're practically hoping every day that they come out with another movie about that particular meta-human or this and that. That's secretly praying to that, because you're praying to see another one. It's like I say all this to say this, because it's not usually the type of video I come out with, but I think like when it comes to YouTube and all that, you know what I mean, even though I'm on here, I think once you get on YouTube and you really start popping, you're actually locking yourself into a contract that you probably you know, really didn't think you were locking yourself into it. And I'll say this to give an example. Most of the people on YouTube that start popping, I don't care if they're talking about computers, they accumulate a certain amount of hate. And if you think about it, back in the days, a lot of deities actually strived off that emotion, that hate, that you know, and actually influence people in order to get them to increase that emotion, which only made them stronger. And I think YouTube, not even YouTube, I just think like when it comes to social media, it's like, whether you believe in the devil or some type of, you know, I think there's a hand in it, because a lot of people on social media, you know, especially the ones that lean towards more towards the negative side, and those seem to be the ones that come up a lot, or they have their hands in something, whether it's, you know, influencing people to take drugs or influence people to drink, act wild, crash their car and do it. The more crazy, the more people tend to, even when it comes to video games, the more exacerbated or the more, you know, you get into it, the more people pay attention to it. And I think people unwillingly sign themselves into a contract when they sign up to get on social media, especially if you plan on getting really big. And just think about it. Gonzo, I don't know why he died, and it sucks, you know what I mean? I liked him because he was just funny and he used to go in on fools, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, RIP to him. I don't do a video on him because, you know, it's like I never spoke on him before, so why now? But, you know, rest in peace to him, man, you know what I mean? But it's just like, if you notice it's like music. A lot of people unknowingly sign themselves for this shit. Like, you know, people like to say, oh, when you got millions and millions of subscribers. Well, look at some of the cats didn't even make it to that point. They had a couple of thousand subscribers. It's just what they spoke into the ether, you know what I mean? It manifested itself, and they end up dying the exact same way that they're professing to you know, be out there doing. It's like, even myself, I know pretty much that there's only a few ways my shit ends, you know what I mean? And it's either gonna end good with me prosperous and in a place to where I no longer have to worry about it, or I end up like one of these cats getting smoked in the street. That's the only two outcomes that I've seen for myself, and I foresaw this a long time ago just because of the type of individual I am. I know there's some things that I put out in the ether that can be considered extremely negative, some a little volatile, some more on the warmonger type page, and then there's some that I put out that's positive. But see, when you dance on the fence, you know what I mean, it's not playing the streets, but when you in between that good and that bad, and you're constantly straddling that fence, because some people think that that's a weakness, but it's a pull. You're getting pulled from both sides. It's like, I'll be on the straight and narrow and I'm doing good, but then I start hearing this shit, like, you know what I mean, that rattles me, and I get mad and I get angry and I revert back to the more violent individual I was before. And I've always had that issue with feeling that if you disrespect, I feel like I really need to do something horrible in order to not only give you an idea of what type of individual you're dealing with, but just to set, you know what I mean, an example that I'm not that, you know what I mean? Like, you will not play with me. And to this day, I still have that issue. That's why I choose to avoid certain situations. Don't really go to clubs. Don't really interact with too many people, because I know it doesn't take much to set me off. But like I said, the whole reason on this video, even though I'm not expecting like major views on this shit, but it's real. It's like the devil is in everything right now. And if you don't call him the devil, you call him you know, Balal, whatever you want to call, whatever you, if you're Muslim, the jinns, like whatever, it's an influence. And I think that with this social media, that he has a big hand in it. It's like, if you watch this one, it's called American Gods, and it's like all the old gods were becoming obsolete and all the new ones were taking, you know, they were coming into power, and one of them being social media. Because social media was something that you could not stop. People were praising this shit. And even IG, you got people right now that will cross their mothers, their kids, and everybody else just to go viral, just to be, dude, you got dudes older than me that they were doing something a lot different, but then they switched because they knew that this will garnish it. Some of them are going so far as to wear dresses, and to me, if you're gay, you're gay. But these guys are not even, you know, supposedly they're not even gay, but they're just doing it in order to garnish attention. And this should tell you right there what type of forces are at play. We constantly up against it, and people don't see it. I'm constantly being pulled one way and the other way. If you notice, just watch my videos. Sometimes I'll be in a good place and then it'll be like just a little switch. And yeah, it could be mental issues, you know what I mean? But it's that little switch, and you see the slightest thing bring that demon out. We constantly snatching demons out, you know what I mean? Constantly dealing with outside influence. And a lot of times the people that bring this out in you are the saboteurs. They're the ones that just really sit back and they're influenced by something in order to bring that demon out. And this is what I like to say. when you're out there doing all this negative stuff, you're out there smacking on food, you're smashing, you're in a state of intangibility, and just realize that, and just feel like you can never be touched. And as long as you feel that, you will continuously do what you do until you get sat down. And even if you get sat down or you get killed, death is most likely instant. And if you didn't, maybe you suffer, but you're still gonna die. So you hit a point. But when you don't and you get sat down in these prisons, all it does is either build up, allows you to realize that you're just not that strong, or you become even more insensitive and a lot more mentally stronger, and just wishing that you could get out in order to, you know, put this shit in motion. But social media is one of those that once it get a hold of you, it snatches you. People say all the time, clout chasing. Clout chasing is just another form of trying and trying to receive worship. You know what I mean? It's like when I get on here and I'm saying what I say, there are literally cats that mess with me solid, that want to see me excel, and then there's some that just like, it literally sounds like it's worship, and though I don't think it's on the level of like, you know, oh, you're a god or nothing, but people have to be careful on exactly what type of, you know, emotions you know, because it can, you know, to whatever you believe in, it can be perceived as something totally different. You give individuals power like that. It's like when you disrespect the PC, I don't do it because I stop. It gives them a certain power that they don't need to have. There are individuals that have failed, and we've all failed in some way, but these are individuals that not only dropped a certain thing, but they continue to embrace something that is no longer them. You know what I mean? It's like, but they're still, you know, on here looking for praise, and that's a lot of individuals. But the whole reason, like I said about this video, I wanted to talk about, because it's true. It's like when you really sit back and think about it, the devil's in the detail, man. Like when it comes to social media, like I said, once it gets a hold of you, you don't know what to do. You got people constantly ending their life over it. You got people killing their parents, killing their grandparents, killing whoever they can in order to get a little notoriety, which is only going to lead to one part. That's either the cage or dead. But they'll do it in order to be something on social media. That's how I say it gets. That's the devil right there. Put his hands in, you know what I mean, in the pot and shake it up. It's like, what else? What else has that pull? Like you know, it's like, I don't know. It's like I think about this shit a lot, and it's like, man, you know, all these cats on social media dying left and right. Some that don't even gangbang, nothing. You see these YouTubers that went from the good kid to straight psychopaths, and people could say, oh, it was already in them, but still. They were on YouTube, became something famous, actually made something of themselves, and then they go out killing people. You know, it's like you have these kids that be like, oh, I wanted to see how it felt to kill. What are you talking about? Yeah, 11-year-old girl, you know, mutilate your friend and bury her in the backyard. You see what I'm saying? This is the type of stuff, but all to be something on social media. I'm telling you, I just seen some other youngster. He said, oh, because I'm dressing like this. He had a tinfoil dress on and was dressing like a female because he said it was popular. But you're not gay, so you know, if you're gay, fine, that's you. But you're not gay, so why are you know what I mean? It's like feeble-minded individuals, and this is why it's so easy for whatever entity you want to claim to get a hold of you. Feeble-minded individuals. Like I said, with my videos, it's not really nothing positive. I live a messed up life sometimes. It's like I'm constantly, you know, on the offensive, you know what I mean? Because it's like I'm dealing with individuals that would do something terrible to me if I was one of them weaklings and allowed it. All because social media. You got dudes on here that are hurt. They literally hurt off the fact. I had a dude tell me something that he wish he could run into me because he hangs with Mexicanos, but I don't know, but he's not from a Mexican gang. Like it's so stupid. It's like, dude, how can you emotionally be moved by an individual that you don't know? He's never disrespected you. It's like, remember the dude that dissed me on the rap? I gave him views because it was funny to me. He seemed like he was slow. and he was looking at, and I noticed there's a lot of cats that sit back on the internet and you'll see them go at like 5 or 6 different people that they think that are popping that might not be what they say they are. And then as soon as they realize that you are who you say you are, now they want to retract it. Oh, I used to be a troll, but you know, I really feel what them teeter-totters, you know what I mean? Them are the cats that there's something wrong with them. There's something behind them pushing them to do this shit, because a lot of times you put yourself in harm's way just by dissing certain individuals. Like, there's certain individuals on the internet right now, if you diss them, it may seem like it's gonna pass, but then somebody pulls up to where you're at and drops you. You know what I'm saying? The power of social media.
Kneel before Zod!